In this video, we're going to look at the process of applying transparent materials to our objects. I've gone ahead and created a very simple scene that's comprised of nothing more than a very simple glass, as you can see here, and then some liquid that's going to be inside the glass. If you take a look at my item list, here's the item that has the glass polygons. I also have one other one up top. This is the liquid. There it is. I've actually modeled the liquid. And then I have another mesh item that is nothing more than a simple flat polygon to represent my scene. And then I've also created some lumigons. So let's go over to my glass item and talk about how we're going to create some materials for this one. Okay, so everything in Modo starts with a selection. So double click on the glass, hit the M key to bring up a new material. And we're going to call this one just glass. Okay, glass. Here we go. And let me get rid of that capital L. And for the moment, we can leave the default color and the diffuse and specular amount the way they are. That's fine. While we're here and while we're in the material tagging process, let's go to the liquid layer, hide my glass, select this bad boy, hit M. We'll call this one liquid. There we go. And hit OK. And that's all we're going to do. So let's turn everything on and jump over to the shader tree. So we need to make a series of adjustments to the materials for each one of the new sets that we created. So the liquid set needs to be changed and the glass set needs to be changed. Let's start with the glass, okay? So to apply a transparent material, really easy, we had to go down to the material itself. This is a material process, not a texture map. So we're going to be adjusting the material. So a couple little tricks that I've learned along the way. We want to go, I'm in the Properties tab, and on the right-hand side here, notice how we have a number of vertical tabs. One says Material Ref, and then the second one should say Material Trans. Now, I've noticed, and this is kind of a bug with Modo, that sometimes when you select the material trans, which is short for transmissive, material transmission properties, don't show up. So if that's the case on your screen, just click on the material group, and then you can actually select the material, and it should pop up. There's mine. So what we want to focus our attention on is the transparent amount. This guy right here. This channel is where we're going to be doing the lion's share of the work. Okay. So we want this particular material to be transparent. So we're going to increase the transparent amount to 100%. Now immediately, as you can see over here, and let me just make my preview window much bigger. I'm going to hit the 0 key on my number pad to maximize it. There we go. As you can see, my glass is completely transparent, but we do need to go in and adjust some of these settings below the transparent amount to get the final result. First and foremost, let's talk about the refractive index. So we're going to jump down a couple to refractive index. This channel here is basically going to determine how the light rays penetrate through this object, okay? Now, this is a mathematically calculated scientific formula. If you go online and look for the refractive index, almost every single material on the face of the planet has some sort of refractive index. I just happen to know off the top of my head that we're going to be working with 1.55 for glass. And the moment I hit the return key, check it out. Now we can start to see a better indication of what our glass is going to look like. So by increasing the refractive index, and you only need to go, maybe like 1.0 to 2.0. Anything above 2.0 is really not going to give you the result that you're looking for. But at 1.5, you can see that now we're starting to get a nice indication of the edges. On transparent glass materials, it's all about the edges. It's all about the edges, and now we're getting some nice a sense of thickness here along the edges, which is pretty cool. One other thing that we can do is change the transparent color. So now that we can actually see our transparency, let's take a look at how we can adjust the color. Now, so if you slide this thing around, notice that my glass updates. Okay, so I'm not going to go that far. I think I might just do a very light blue glass. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Now, if you look carefully at the way this glass is being drawn on the screen, we're getting some weird shading here in the center. Well, that's because we haven't monkeyed around with the absorption distance yet. This channel is going to tell the computer how far into the object itself the light ray is going to penetrate. So again, very small numbers here. We don't need to go crank this. I've learned from my experience that small little movements on this distance is really going to help. You also want to look at the overall global size of your object in your environment. This object is to scale, so it's already pretty small. So I'm going to have a small absorption distance. Let's see here. I think I'm going to start off with 0.3937 inches. Let's see what that gets me. Yeah, okay, look at this. So check this out. All that weird funky shading in the center here was resolved, and now we're getting some nice shading and colors around the edges, okay? Because we're telling the computer how far the light ray is going to travel before it bounces out and refracts, okay? So let's do the exact same thing for the liquid. We're walking towards the final product here. So let's start with the liquid because that's really kind of bugging me right now. So same thing. Grab the material inside the liquid material group. Find the Material Trans tab over here on the right in the Properties tab, and transparency, 100%. Now, I want this to be kind of like an iced tea, so a dark brown. So we'll just go ahead and change the transparency color while we're here, okay? So maybe somewhere over here, and then we'll bring it down in value some. Yeah, that might be acceptable. Yeah, I'm liking that. Okay, so let's start with the refractive index. Once again, we're going to do a very small movement here. So 1.35. Yeah. Oh, look at this at the top. Now we're starting to get closer to what that material should look like. And of course, the absorption distance is really the one that makes the biggest impact. So we'll try the same thing that we tried before with the glass, just 0.3937 inches. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Nice and dark here at the top and a little bit lighter down here at the bottom. So let's kind of dial this in a little bit and see what we get. I'm just going to kind of go small movements with this number. I went from 0.39 to 0.45. Yeah, oh, look at that. That is looking so good. So good. I'm loving that. Now we're starting to get some really nice indications of shadows and the actual material itself. Now, the only thing that's missing in this is maybe perhaps just a little bit of reflection on the glass. Back to the material. Inside material ref, let's maybe just turn up the reflection value of the glass itself, because glass is reflective. It is going to reflect its environment. Let's try like 3.0. Ooh, I'm liking that. Now we're getting a nice indication of the environment, the big light in my scene. Let's give it some Fresnel too, maybe like 80%. See what that does. Yeah, cool. I'm digging it. Let's do the same thing for the liquid. Just a little bit of reflection, and a little bit goes a long way. Yeah, I'm digging it. That's starting to look pretty good. I'm pleased with that. So transparent materials are not difficult to craft, but we do have to go find the correct settings in the material trans. I've learned from experience that small movements along the absorption distance and refractive index really help dial your materials in and achieve that final result. Now keep in mind, this absorption distance is entirely based on the scale of your object in your 3D universe. So if you have an object that's 1 kilometer in size, you're probably going to be doing feet instead of inches like I am here. So transparent materials, super easy in Modo.